and welcome back to 9 Yards TV, brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate. I'm your host, Leafline, and today's small business focus is going to be one that business owners have been forced to grapple with in recent months, and that's e-commerce and infrastructure. From SEO to social media, whether it's product or the POPI Act, all entrepreneurs need to know how to have an online presence in a smart way. Helping us figure out how to do that today are entrepreneur Androliakos of Leafline, as well as our expert CEO of Heavy Chef, Roed. Candy, Fred, welcome. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you.
Hi there, it's great to be here.
Likewise. All right, Candy, let's kick off with you. Why don't you tell us what exactly does Leafline do?
Leafline manufactures washable sanitary ware. We use a natural fiber in the inside. The fiber comes from the leaf of the cane pineapple. So all our products are washable. Like I said, we make adult and children nappies and sanitary towels.
Very specific and very niche. You're also in a wonderful part of the country, Bathurst in the Eastern Cape. How does your distribution and using online help you get to all of your clients around the country?
Well, because we're in a small town, obviously the online is what we've been using at the moment to sell. We do have adverts in magazines and newspapers, and we do supply the smaller stores around here. But I think the bulk of our sales come from the online sales.
That's excellent stuff. You obviously have a great deal of e-commerce in terms of the way that you distribute. Have you faced any particular challenges in trying to reach your market in that way?
With e-commerce, I think because a large part of people who buy from me are elderly, they battle with the technicality of the e-commerce. You know, it's not a new thing, but for some people, they've never bought product online, so it's relatively new for them. And I've had to do a lot of follow-ups on the e-commerce platform. You know, obviously they buy it, but you still have to make 100% sure that they've bought the right thing or done the right thing. Another thing is to also make sure that we get the right target market. It's got to be quite clear to the person buying it that we don't do the disposable item, we do a washable item.
So a lot of client education and also making sure you're targeting a very specific product to a broad range of people. Fred, you're the CEO of Heavy Chef, and of course your company is very well known in SME circles. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is exactly that you do?
Heavy Chef is a learning platform for entrepreneurs, and I like to say that we are entrepreneurs teaching other entrepreneurs how to be entrepreneurs whilst learning from other entrepreneurs and being entrepreneurs ourselves. And the way we do that is through bite-sized chunks of learning. So it's micro learning, lessons within 5 minutes. Those bites, 10 bites, makes up a recipe. The name Heavy Chef actually comes from the saying, never trust a skinny chef. And we get heavy chefs to teach our entrepreneurs what it is that they do and share their recipes of success in those niche topics.
And that is the exciting part, right? E-commerce has been around for a very long time, but as you say, the specificity of it seems to be what's making it feel so new. And then, of course, it also exploded under lockdown, right? People suddenly were forced into this space. What is the first lesson you try to teach people who have to hop online as quickly as possible, for example, when government shut our trading doors?
The main thing is to understand what it is that you are selling. What is the problem that you're solving? And so it's really important that you know exactly what it is that you're the best in the world at. You know, whether it's a single product within a certain niche in a certain area, it's incredibly important that you're able to articulate that uniqueness within the market.
How do I tackle, as an SME owner, how do I tackle market research into e-commerce? It feels as though I'm screaming into a void, right? You put up your website and you have no idea who's on the other side clicking through. What's the best way, would you say, as an SME owner to filter the market?
The first is to understand who it is that I'm targeting and really identify, again, their problem, the pain that they're feeling that your product, your offering provides a solution for. I think the second thing would be around how to foster a certain sense of community so that you don't just get a single once-off buyer, that you have somebody who would come to you and then go to a competitor the next time. Or research the ways in which you can create community so that they could ultimately be able to discuss the solution amongst each other and therefore obviously make it a whole lot more sustainable.
So this ability to really, as you say, kind of address the pain or the frustration of your client, Candy, that's something you've figured out very well with Leafline in terms of the lessons you learned with the follow-ups in real life. From an e-commerce perspective, though, what would you do differently if you could start Leafline all over again?
From an e-commerce perspective, well, I only came on board sort of quite late in the product. I think with the last 2 or 3 years ago, I did the e-commerce. So I'd probably have started it a lot earlier. And I think also to be very specific about what it is you do so that people understand it a lot better. And I think also the third thing, which I've only sort of recently done, the guys who market for me, they've targeted the groups that needed to be targeted. So you can't just put it on there and expect that every person who sees it is going to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. So I think those are sort of 3 things I should have done earlier on.
Fred, it's not as easy to go and target that market anymore. The Protection of Personal Information Act has made it ever harder for e-commerce participants and people trying to actually access that market the way Candy has. What would you say to entrepreneurs who need to bear that in mind?
It's a really good question. I mean, it's become protection of data, protection of personal information has become a very thorny issue, not just in South Africa, but worldwide. So one of the courses on our platform, on the Heavy Chef platform, actually targets how to protect your audience's personal information. And in a nutshell, there's 2 things I can say to that. The first is from a technical perspective, just ensure that whether you have your mailing lists and your capturing pages, your data capturing pages, all the mechanisms that you have from a technical perspective adhere to the POPI legislation and ensure that those are up to speed. I mean, that's absolutely critical. The second thing is just from an operations perspective. So the first is technical, the second is operations. From an operations perspective, that you are doing the work in order to preserve protection of information. So that, a basic example would be not to have your database available for everybody to go and steal or to use outside of the use case that your audience member, your target audience actually gave you permission for. And over and above all of that, just to show that you've done the work. So in other words, that you have a record of the work that you're doing, that you have emails that you've sent out to your target audience that say, hey guys, do you give us permission? And the ability for them to opt out.
So it really is true that data is the new gold. And if you're a statistics professor or anything to go by, smart data produces intelligence. I'm really grateful to both of you for giving us your insights. What a brilliant, insightful conversation. Thank you to you both for joining us today. We've learned so much more about being able to trade online and facing up to e-commerce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's our 9 minutes right here on 9 Yards TV, brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate, helping entrepreneurs go the distance. Remember to click like and to subscribe in order to get more small business insights right here. Until next time, I'm Refilwe. See you soon.
Need funding to grow your business? SME Go helps you to reach several funders with one application. Find out more at smego.co.za.